Hello, fellow fume heads. It's Trina, your scent gourmand and frag hag. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing 5 fragrances with you from the house of Elizabeth Arden, specifically a selection of fragrances from her green tea collection. But first, buckle up for a trip back in time with the one, the only, Ms. Elizabeth Arden, a true legend in the beauty game. So the brand is actually over 100 years old, so picture this. Quite literally a century ago, a sassy girl called Florence Nightingale Graham from rural Canada, made her way up to the Big Apple, or down perhaps, or over. What did she do? Only open up the original Red Door Salon on Fifth Avenue. This was back in 1910, and Ms. Arden wasn't just about slapping on some makeup. Her mantra was all about a smart blend of science and nature, aiming to bring out a woman's natural beauty. She was into skincare products that actually did good for the skin and not just cover it up. Miss Arden walked her talk well, from taking care of her skin to following good nutrition and fitness, at least to the extent of her knowledge and ability at the time. Arden's mission was to give a scientific twist to skincare. From the cult favorite 8-hour cream to the timeless bluegrass fragrance and that bold red lipstick that matched all the uniforms of badass women in World War II, she nailed it. And this trailblazer wasn't shy when it came to shaking things up. She introduced eye makeup to American women. She practically invented the makeover and was the brains behind the first ever travel-size beauty products. She sent out a team of road-tripping demonstrators and saleswomen before that was even a thing. By the 1930s, Red Door salons were popping up in fashion capitals all around the globe, and she proudly proclaimed that there were only 3 American names known everywhere at the time: Singer sewing machines, Coca-Cola, and you guessed it, Elizabeth Arden. She built an empire and pretty much birthed the whole industry. Arden's spirit, innovation, and commitment to quality are still the heartbeat of the company today. And of course, I inferred all this from their website. They've got a big, post about the history. I honestly don't know much about Elizabeth Arden's makeup and skincare, but her fragrances were certainly on my mother's countertops growing up. These included Red Door and the later Sunflowers, which you can still get today, along with all the flankers. And it is flanker territory that I bring you into today, my lovelies, because I'm going to talk about this fragrance, green tea, and all of the flankers associated with it. Let's go. So green tea launched in 1999. It's now 2024. It took me 25 years to get my nose on this. I don't know if this has gone through any reformulations, but I can say the following right off the bat. 1, it's got staying power, not necessarily as a fragrance, but as a brand. I'll give it that. 2, like all its flankers, it's delightfully affordable. 100 mLs of this EDT, or probably more accurately, eau de cologne or eau fraîche. It's not strong or long lasting. This can be had for less than $50 US, sometimes as little as 20, depending where you shop. And 3, this smells nothing like green tea. And I know what I'm talking about. I live in Japan, and I've lived here since before this fragrance was released. And that's a bit of a relief, to be honest, because much as I like tea and fragrance, green tea is far too bitter, Japanese green tea, to be infused into a perfume. I realize they must have been going with the idea of it, but even then, the bottling and actual smell of the fragrance it's too soft and delicate almost for me to associate it with green tea. Perhaps that's more of a Western association of the beverage. I don't know. To me, green tea is earthy, bitter, aromatic, best served in wabi-sabi style thick ceramic and not China porcelain, which is the actual vibe that this gives off. More porcelain. Anyway, here are the notes. See, right off the top, you get lemon, bergamot, mint, orange peel, rhubarb, mint? What? Miss Arden, I think you are confusing your teas. Actually, I shouldn't be moaning to Miss Arden. She's not the perfumer. Who is the nose then? Well, I was somewhat surprised to learn that it's none other than Francis Kierdejean. Well, we know that Mr. Kierdejean is good at bringing oud to the Western nose. Maybe this is his Western sensibility for green tea. Don't get me wrong though, it smells good. Soft and subtle, refreshingly delightful, particularly on hot days. A nice citrus with a tinge of rhubarb. A watery, almost aquatic dry down. It has a zinginess to it that I appreciate, and it's unisex. Lemony spricket, like drinking lemonade with mint leaves and just a sprinkle of sugar. Mint and sugar, two things I would definitely not associate with green tea, by the way. On the other hand, it might bring detergent of one sort or another to some noses. The biggest con to this fragrance, as well as with every green tea flanker coming after, at least to my knowledge, is the Zara-like performance. This stuff lives near the skin unless you overspray, and you need to respray often throughout the day. So this cheap bottle of fragrance is perhaps not that cheap when you consider that factor. And you'd best believe that in summer, or if you're especially active, the performance will be reduced further, which is a shame. I've also found that the aquatic tones in here morph into something a little metallic over time. I don't personally find this to be a negative, however, just different. But I tell you, this is exactly the type of fragrance that you want to wear in extremely humid and hot environments, because it's not going to be off-putting or cloying and it's fresh. So overall, this green tea fragrance is more than pleasant enough to my nose, but it's not to my personal taste. I'm not a freshy person. By the way, I did indeed get this secondhand. I've only worn it a couple of times, in fact. With that much juice already deleted, you can get that I purchased this for a song. And yeah, I did indeed. I was curious about the fragrance because someone gave me a later franker with fig in it. Where is it? This one here. I absolutely love this. So I figured, haha. I figured I should further familiarize myself with potentially fabulous flankers filled with faint green tea filaments. Not funny. Well, I'm cracking myself up. Maybe that's all that counts. So I'll talk about the figgy flanker soon, but why not go through the entire green tea flanker phenomenon? On the actual Elizabeth Arden website, you can get only the original and the most recent one or two flankers. But if you're savvy, as I claim myself to be, you'll investigate other retailers to see what's available and at what price. So after the original in 1999, Elizabeth Arden came out with iced green tea containing citrus and camphorous notes, and then spiced green tea with ginger, rhubarb, tea, cardamom, and patchouli. This latter one is apparently the furthest to date from the original formula. In 2005, she came out with Green Tea Summer, which had citrus, blackcurrant, lily, passion fruit, and musk. And then in 2006, it was time for the only EDP in the series, or Eau de Parfum, which is Green Tea Intense. I think this one is still available retail. It has fewer notes, but the impression is the same as the original, but likely stronger is my guess. In 2006, we also saw green tea revitalized with blood orange, mint, lotus, magnolia, and birch. And of course, for the fragrance notes that I'm listing for the fragrances that I don't own in my collection, I'm just listing the key notes that came to my mind when I was researching this. From 2007, Elizabeth Arden started coming out with one flanker a year, except for 3 years leading up to Trump's election in 2016, when 2 flankers were released each year. After that, Arden went back to once a year. So in 2007, we have Green Tea Tropical with keynotes of green tea, lychee, and passion flower. In 2008, we have Green Tea Lotus, containing lotus, green tea, yuzu, and cherry blossom. 2009 gives us Green Tea Exotic with lily, orchid, jasmine, and narcissus. In 2010, delivers with green tea lavender with, you guessed it, lavender, plus chamomile and green tea and other goodies. In 2011, we get green tea Camilla containing citrus, white and pink florals, woody musk and amber. And in 2012, we finally get the next flanker I own, green tea cherry blossom. This one here. It's not surprising that I should find this flanker readily available online for sale. I live in quintessential cherry blossom territory. Sakura flavored beverages are standard seasonal fare in my local Starbucks even. It's that intense. Hanami season, you know, it's a big thing. Anyway, here are the notes for this one. So this is probably the one I liked least in the collection. I'm not really a Sakura fan, so really, I don't know why I bought it. It was cheap and I was curious. Yeah, I guess. Basically, it's girly, it's fresh, it's light, and it's clean. It's a little synthetic smelling. Normally that's not an issue, but here it is. I would like a more natural smelling flower. But here's the thing. Cherry blossom doesn't really have a particularly strong or distinct or interesting scent, in my opinion. Now, I think the perfumer, and who is the perfumer? I couldn't find it for this one. I think the perfumer is referencing the cherry and not the cherry blossom, because there's a synthetic note that's smelling like almost medicinal and cherry, like a candy note. And I also find it it does smell a bit like the floral, though. There's a musty bitterness to it that I don't quite vibe with. In addition, you know, I don't think the green tea, if it is green tea, the tea meshes well with this. Sure, they're both Japanese. So what? In North America, would you put peanut butter on your hot dogs? Well, I'm sure someone does, so I guess someone will also like this, but it isn't me. So as it turns out, the following 2013 release is another flanker I purchased. I bring you Green Tea Honeysuckle. Honeysuckle is pleasant. Very light and lighthearted. It goes well with the green tea theme too. Here are the notes. Now we have a nose for this fragrance, and it is Rodrigo Flores Roux. Sounds like a Spanish-French blend of a name. And this gentleman is actually responsible for 11 of the green tea flankers from Elizabeth Arden. A couple of other perfumes that I'm well acquainted with that he's responsible for are Estee Lauder's Bronze Goddess and Clinique's Happy. Happy, yes. This flanker is a happy one. Fresh, floral, sweet, and carefree. At first spray this stuff. Yeah, at first spray you get a blast of tangerine and lemon, but as citrus usually does, it fades fast, although it does hang out for a while longer when the florals break out. There's a little jasmine, yes, but more so the ylang ylang and the honeysuckle, of course, and tea, although, again, it's not green tea. As the perfume settles, you get some peach that surfaces. It's nice. Not unpolarizing, very young, but for me, not very exciting. And of course, it disappears fast. So ultimately, for this one too, it's a pass for me. Okay, moving on. In 2014, we saw two decidedly Asian launches. Green Tea Bamboo containing bamboo, galbanum violet, and mate. And I think they mean yerba mate here. It's a type of tea, if you're not familiar. But yerba mate is it not South American? Isn't it from Brazil or something? Not exactly Asian. Or maybe there's a mate that I don't know about. And also green tea yuzu containing yuzu, which is a delicious everyday Japanese citrus. I use it frequently in cooking. And lemon green tea, that just no. And mint, no. Call me pessimistic, but based on the original green tea, I would be surprised if these smell what I would or should expect them to smell like. Living in Asia myself and being familiar with the notes. 2015 brought us green tea cucumber, which, as you might expect, contains cucumber, but as you possibly might not expect, watermelon. which I love. I think these two yummy and refreshingly watery edibles are related, in fact. Wait on. Yes, I just Googled it. Both are members of this plant family. I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce that, which also includes squash, pumpkins, melons, and gourds. Anyway, this one does look very appealing to me, so I might have to hunt it down. In the same year, we also have green tea jasmine, predictably containing tea, jasmine, and musk. There were 2 releases in 2016 as well. Green tea mimosa with mimosa, heliotrope, ambrette, and musk, and green tea nectarine blossom containing exotic fruits, peach, nectarine, and musk. 2017 appears to have been a leap year for Elizabeth Arden, at least according to Fragrantica. Next release in 2018 is my favorite, green tea fig. And that's indeed probably because I have what could be identified as a fig fetish of sorts. Here are the notes. Now this one's been used up almost entirely by yours truly. I love to dig into it when I want to drench myself in figginess without using up my more expensive fig fragrances, of which I still have quite a few, I think. I might have used up a couple, but I've made decants for reference. Anyway, this one is delightful. It's got the flesh of ripe figs. Sometimes I feel the fig is very sweet, and other times I think it gives a more watery vibe. Either way, it's delicious. There's also some bitterness in here, but I think it's probably brought on by the tea and not the fig leaves or stem. I don't detect a lot of bitter milkiness that you might find in other fig perfumes. The fig doesn't smell synthetic to my nose either. It's delightfully realistic. And it's also an energizing fragrance. I think all of the green tea fragrances are energizing to some extent. That must be a result of mixing with the original green tea DNA. Though to be frank, if you didn't tell me there was a tea note in this fig fragrance, I wouldn't have known. I do pick up on the tamarind note, I think. Perhaps that's what helps give it a zing that I feel. It's also great to wear this in hot weather during the day or possibly even evenings. If you're a fan of fragrances like Ninfio Mio by Goutal, this is the old bottle, or scents like Première Figuée by L'Artisan Parfumeur, or Philosophos by Diptyque, which I have a decant of somewhere, but you're not a fan of the price tags that accompanies these pricier frags, then give this a go. If you can find it. It's not available retail anymore to my knowledge, but I'm sure you can find it. But this one, to be fair, it's not the same. Compared to my favorite Philosophos, for example, this is on the sweeter, fruitier, and perhaps less sophisticated side, but it really does deliver on the fig. Aside from the poor performance, I should mention 2 other things to consider with this fig fragrance. A, you gotta love fig, obviously, and B, even if you like fig, this might not go with your body chemistry. I mean, you could say that for every fragrance, but apparently a lot of people find this cloying and headache inducing, which me personally, I find that hard to believe living in a hot place, but so sad if you're one of those people. Obviously, this is a winner for me, doubly so because it's so affordable, and I'm probably going to replace this. In 2019, we saw the launch of another fruity liquid in another colorful bottle. I'm speaking about green tea pomegranate. And as it turns out, this is my second favorite of the 6 I own, at least. I guess I like fruit and tea together, although you can't smell much of the tea in here either. Here are the notes. The perfumer is once again Rodrigo. What I enjoy about eating pomegranate, not smelling it, is that it manages to be simultaneously sweet and extraordinarily tart or sour at the same time. I think this fragrance captures the essence of the fruit well, even though it's the passion fruit molecule that we're likely inhaling here, because pomegranate really doesn't smell much, at least to my memory when eating the stuff. Now, while I do think it has more potential than the fig perfume to produce headaches in some unlucky people, I also think this fruity concoction smells rather natural. The other notes, perhaps the tea notes and the florals, soften and smooth it out well, and the bergamot at the top does wonders. So bravo, Elizabeth Arden or Rodrigo. It's well blended. The fruity notes do dissipate quickly, however, and it does gradually get a little grassier on skin. But by that time, you may want to spray anyway because it's faded. Fruity, fresh, yummy. One thing I want to stress again about this fragrance and all of the others in the line is that they don't smell particularly high-end. It's a cheapie. It smells like a cheapie, but it's a cheapie done exceptionally well. You don't need to spend a lot to smell good. Seriously. So on these bottles, they have the main sort of accord in the front, in this case the fig, but the underlying green tea is always in a leaf on the back of the bottle. That's pretty cool, no? Okay, there have been 5 more fragrances since the pomegranate release. In 2020, we have Green Tea Pear Blossom, which unsurprisingly has notes of pear and pear blossom. I love pear, so I'll be keeping my eyes out for this one. And in 2021, in the midst of the corona pandemic, we got Green Tea Sakura Blossom containing cherry blossom, jasmine, and violet. Now, this is not to be confused with Green Tea Cherry Blossom from 2007. I don't know if it was meant as an improved update or a completely different fragrance. I think it's probably both. The newer one doesn't contain cherry cough drops, apparently. Green Tea Lychee Lime came out in 2022. I think the notes are obvious there. And I'm going to be putting that down on my search list as well because Lychee Lime, love those notes. In 2023, we got Green Tea Citron Freesia, which last I checked, you can purchase directly from Elizabeth Arden's website still. It's got citron and freesia, obviously. And recently, just in the last few months, Green Tea Coconut Breeze was released, containing coconut flesh, salt, and white amber. And who knows what we'll get next year. I'm willing to bet, though, that the green tea line will continue to pump out these lovely freshies, particularly if they continue to stay affordable, even though a lot of them do stray from the original green tea concoction. Nonetheless, rather than buying retail, I would search for even cheaper options first. If you're going to buy before you spray, I think it's the better way to go. Most of these I paid as little as 1/10 of the retail price for, but they've got mostly less than a third left, so I guess that's understandable. Secondhand is a great way to try before you buy. I've seen this one secondhand already, and I think I might buy it again. So I have 5 Green Tea Elizabeth Arden fragrances. How many from the green tea line did I mention in total? I'm going to have to count myself. Bonus points for you if you can respond with the correct number in the comments. And if you know more than me, if I missed one, for example, do let me know and call me out in the comments. I'm sadly not infallible. That is all for today, my lovelies. Smell you later. Bye-bye.